Hello and welcome. My name is Thomas, and today I am reviewing the Plaud Note, which is an AI-powered audio recorder designed to capture, transcribe, and summarize conversations, meetings, phone calls, and voice memos. They did send this over for review, however that will not bias my opinion in any way. I was mostly interested in this guy as I am currently working full-time as well as being essentially a full-time student, trying to get into grad school and trying to have a balanced life of being healthy and keeping up with my interpersonal relationships, which means my time is limited. So a device that can record lectures and make high quality notes at the touch of a button was something that definitely caught my attention. In today's review, I'll be covering everything you need to know about this device, what it comes with, the specs, an overview of the device, how it works, how good the AI is, and if you can get the same bang for your buck for less. I tested this device for 2 weeks, the first week with their unlimited membership trial, which is only 7 days, and the second week without a membership to see how things changed. This is a very long video, but I promise it will give you all of the information you need to decide if this is the right device for you or not. So without further ado, let's dive in. Starting off with a quick unboxing, it comes with the Plaud Note. MagSafe magnetic case, a magnetic ring for those that don't have MagSafe enabled devices, a proprietary charging cable that works via magnets, and pogo pins to have a USB-C port that is rather short, and a user manual. Looking closer at the device, it comes in 4 different colors: black, starlight, silver, and navy blue. I've got the silver version, but it is made from aluminum. It is incredibly thin, being about 2 credit cards in depth and size. It is incredibly lightweight at 1.04 ounces. In the upper front right of the device, you have a single button that is slightly depressed. If you hold it for a second, it will vibrate, indicating that the recording is started, along with illuminating a red button in between the Plaud branding on the upper left. Holding that button for 2 seconds will give a double vibration and stop the recording. Just to the left of that button is a physical toggle switch. This switch requires the right amount of pressure to move without being too light or too heavy. If you have a silver background, then it is on normal recording mode for open air recordings or meetings/lectures, whereas moving the toggle up with a red background activates the vibration conduction sensor, or VCS for short. Capture audio from phone calls by picking up vibration mimicking outside noises, which is super fancy. Last, it has an LED hidden underneath the A of the Plaud logo, which is red during recordings and purple during charging. It has a 400 milliamp hour battery rated for 30 hours of continuous recording, 60-day standby, and recharges in 2 hours. I'm unaware of any quick charging that it possesses. I've used it for about 7 lectures that are about 80 minutes long, along with playing around with it a bit, and I've lost about 20% of the battery, with 10 to 20 hours remaining based on their estimations. The charger itself is short, being about 1 meter or 3 feet, wrapped in rubber, going from a proprietary magnetic pogo charger to a USB-C port. It comes with 64 gigabytes of storage and a 1-year warranty. The magnetic case is about as thick as the device itself, making the entire combo about 4 credit cards in depth. It feels like leather/pleather, essentially death grips the device, making it extremely hard to remove manually, ensuring that it won't accidentally fall out. It has a cutout for the charging port on the back. It is MagSafe enabled, allowing you to attach it to the back of your phone or MagSafe enabled devices, which is an excellent feature for portability. This also allows the device to record phone calls as it picks up the vibrations coming from your phone, which I'll discuss a bit more in depth in a bit. As mentioned, this is enabled by sliding the toggle to the up position, which will show a red background. With it being so low profile, it also isn't distracting when you have it out for recordings. Overall, I think they nailed both of those things. Getting a bit near to ear for a second, as I was excited about this stuff, it has 2 micro electromechanical systems, aka MEMS or MEMS, which is a fancy term for modern miniature microphones on the top of the device that tries to capture 360-degree stereo audio. They are high quality digital mics that are incredibly small and power efficient. By having 2 microphones, it allows for better sound quality and, most importantly, helps with AI noise cancellation, which is likely why it works so well in the app. Discussed a little bit more later. It also comes with 1 vibration conduction sensor, aka VCS for short, which you often don't see and makes it rare. It isn't a microphone, but instead captures sound by sensing the physical vibrations, which is how it can record phone calls. It then also uses one of the MEMS microphones to record your voice. This is similar tech to bone conduction headphones, meaning the device is pretty darn cool. They report it has 10 meters of effective recording range. I would say my professor is probably at the limits of that range, which is about 32 feet in American units. I found whether he is using a microphone or not, the recording is loud enough to use my phone's speakers. Granted, they are at max volume. And as expected, the closer you get, the higher quality and louder the recording. Going through the motions, in my case, you would press the front of the device for 1 second to start the lecture recording, giving you a quick vibration and red light to notify you that it is working. Then when done, I would hold it for 2 seconds, where you would then get a double vibration and the LEDs would turn off. You would then open the Plaud app, where you would decide how you want to transfer it. There are 3 different modes: Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or hardwired. Bluetooth is quite slow, especially for large recordings, but fine for shorter ones. With my lectures being 80 minutes, I always opt for the Wi-Fi. There will be a progress bar on the top. You click that and it gives you the option to connect to Wi-Fi, which then turns Wi-Fi on the device and then automatically prompts your device to connect. Most of the time it connects first try, but occasionally I would have to keep retrying, at which point the speed dramatically increases for the transfer. But I do get a warning from my phone that states Wi-Fi isn't working, and if I want to use my mobile network instead, where I would then select keep trying Wi-Fi. Once done, as it's not actually providing Wi-Fi in the traditional sense, it's just connecting that through a faster wireless connection to transfer the information. Once done, you finish it and it will disconnect from Plaud's Wi-Fi and reconnect to the previous Wi-Fi. It is quite seamless. As for the wired option, you can use the proprietary charger to USB-C. However, I didn't try this, as my phone still uses Lightning, which means I'm kind of out of luck. At this point, you can rename the recording to whatever you want. It will also show the date, time, and length. Then if you have the Pro or Unlimited membership, you can generate an overview, transcript, summary, and a mind map. I'll discuss that further down the line. Discussing the free version and just talking about the playback of a recording device for right now. Once you click into a recording, on the top you have a waveform of the recording, and underneath that you have controls. From left to right, that is speed/AI speech enhancement, rewind 15 seconds, play/pause, fast forward 15 seconds, and trim. Focusing in on the first button, you have the choice to adjust speed from 0.75 times, 1 times, 1.25 times, 1.5 times, 1.75 times, and last, 2 times speed, which I appreciate. However, I do wish it went to 3 times speed, as personally I listen to most things in general at 2 times speed, and some people's talking cadence is very slow, making 2.5 or 3.5 very appreciated. Especially during review, it's more helpful as if you're scanning for a specific point, but there's also another way that you could find a specific point that would probably cut down some time, which I'll get to in a second. Underneath that is AI speech enhancement, which comes with 4 settings: off, low, medium, and high, which helps limit the background noise, echo, and in general focuses on the main speaker's voice, which does a surprisingly good job making it a lot more tolerable and clear, as with some of these you get so much background noise from the gain and just other noises that it makes it hard to actually listen to. Also, as a quick side note, if you purchase one of their memberships, you have access to transcripts, which was the other part that I was talking about that would save you a lot of time, and that way you can go straight to the point in the recording by pressing that time next to the timestamp. So it would transcribe everything that was said. You could then quickly skim that, find what you were looking for, then you just click the time that's right next to that transcript, and it'll immediately jump to that inside of the recording itself, so you can hear what exactly is said. It will also show you different speakers, which you can rename inside of it if you so wish. The quality of playback is good. This is a very challenging environment, and the fact that I can hear most, if not all of the words at 2 times speed through the speakers of my iPhone 14 Pro Max is quite good. I tend to still use higher quality earbuds/headphones, as that does help clean up the speech even more, but when directly comparing this to my Apple Watch Ultra, I found that I actually preferred the Plaud device, as it gives me a more cleaner and accurate description. So for example, when listening to the raw recordings, I think the edge went to the Apple Watch, as the speaker was a bit louder and clearer, as there was less noise from the gain being boosted to pick up his voice and less echo in the room overall. So it was already doing some correction. But I think the accuracy of the recording was better on the Plaud, as he sounded further away and the echo from the room was more noticeable, while still having very clear vocals. But it was when I enabled the AI speech enhancement that really made the Plaud stand out, limiting the gain static noise, the echo, and the highlighting the speaker's vocals while clarifying and boosting it, really showing off those MEMS. As you increase the AI speech enhancement, such as with medium and high, you can tell that it is being manipulated just from the way that it sounds, especially on high, where sometimes it would even cut out doing too good of a job. I found low medium to be the sweet spot, with most of the time using low. You can do all of this without a membership. They advertise unlimited cloud, well, all of this without a membership except for the transcript part. They advertise unlimited cloud storage to your recordings, but it's unclear if this is tied to the membership long-term or not. So for now, it seems to work regardless, but that may change. So only speaking from ease of use and playback controls, this does a fantastic job. But membership prices and sorting of files complicates that, which I'll discuss a bit later. But for the files aspect, you can create folders, but those folders don't minimize your recordings. So once you get a ton of recordings, things look extremely busy and confusing. They need to update the app so that when you put a file into a folder, that it minimizes it for quick sorting, instead showing all of the recordings with a highlight of what folder it is in. You can go to the top left of the device though, and then select down and then select that folder, which will just show the recordings for that folder. But again, I feel like it's a little bit messy and could definitely see some improvements there. Before I get into the AI features, I want to talk about the pricing, as without this information, my future points might be a bit confusing. The biggest complaint I have on this device is the cost, mostly the membership, as it is expensive. The device itself is $159. I'm not sure what to think of that price, as while this is a high quality device, that seems excessive. I think $60 to $80 would be better, but I think I'm likely undervaluing the cost it takes from research and development, custom hardware, specifically the VCS and the miniaturization process, the MagSafe components, marketing, and profit margin. The biggest issue that I have with that price is this device is exceedingly limited if you don't get a membership. I won't go into all of the memberships, but there are two main ones. The one that I would want is the 1-year unlimited plan, emphasis on unlimited part for later, which gives me unlimited amount of minutes of AI summaries, but costs $239.99 a year, which breaks down to about $20 a month. I think this is too expensive for what you're getting. As for the Gemini Pro, it too is $20 a month, but I can use it in a plethora of ways, which is something that I use all of the time, such as summaries, helping me write stuff, reviewing the things that I've written, educating me on things. It can make movies, make art, and a bunch of other things. Granted, movies and art is kind of in quotations there. Essentially, it is a super smart friend that is willing to help me attack life and is a true creative partner. Well, all the Plaud does is make a transcript summary and an outline for the same price. And while it does that brilliantly, while giving me access to other large language models, or LLMs for short, a lot of the features of those LLMs are unusable. And arguably, I'd get similar results no matter which one I used if my prompts were good enough. I would do maybe $10, maybe even pushing $15 a month, but $20 I think is too much. And I've seen $260 in some places for the annual plan, making it $22 a month. You can also buy the annual Pro plan, with emphasis on the Pro for later, but that is $99.99, so $100 for a year. But that limits you to 1,200 minutes a month, which translates to about 20 hours of content a month, which means if you have more than 20 hours of meetings, lectures, notes, recordings a month, then you must go for the most expensive plan. They do this purposefully as a marketing strategy, and it works. You offer people options, which gives the illusion of choice, but you make most of those options poor except for a small handful of individuals, which then forces them to automatically go to the most expensive option. One example is if you go with the Pro plan, you can select the wrong template, or if it does a poor job at the summary, you just burned however many minutes that recording was. And yes, I understand some people may use less than 1,200 minutes, and that makes it a good deal. Also, paying for what you need is also a good idea, and I agree with that. But again, that's the beautiful psychology of it all. It is very much a gray area, and that is exactly how they get you. My problem is the next tier being 140% more expensive. Now, I understand the likely reasoning. Application programming interfaces, aka APIs, are cost metered, which means for every bit of data they process, it costs tokens, aka words. Since Plaud doesn't have these devices natively and essentially are renting them, it costs Plaud money every time a request is sent, making it so a user summarizing 100 hours versus 10 hours can be substantially more expensive. The unlimited plan is likely priced to cover the cost of the heaviest users while still being profitable, which I understand. While I wish we lived in a world where instead of pricing for the top users only, we went off the model where it was more reasonably priced and hoped that with a large amount of users, things would tend to trend towards a mean where some users use less and some other users use more, and it equals out in the middle, aka regression to the mean. Or perhaps that's already how they did all of this and came up with this pricing. I don't know, because I don't work there. I know AI is exceedingly expensive, and with that knowledge, I can't fault them on their pricing, even if I disagree with it and feel like it is a predatory marketing strategy, as it creates a massive gap designed to push any serious user into the most expensive plan, and that feels manipulative to me, even if it is a popular business model and how they make profit. I just wish we could figure out some other type of compromise that was better for everyone. If you are just doing transcripts and have Mac OS, I highly recommend MacWhisper. I use it all the time for transcripts. It costs 59 euros or $68.18. It uses your computer's neural processing unit, or NPU, to do all of the work, which means you have unlimited access to it, and it doesn't have to have an internet connection to do it. With NPUs becoming more popular, I would love to see them transitioning to onboard processing instead of having it go to their servers, even if it took more time. So allowing your computer / phone / tablet to do the work, I think would be a win-win for everyone, and hopefully we trend towards that in the future, which would allow them to cut down costs while still being able to make profit, and would make your devices that you're paying for get a little bit more of a workout and actually push it to its limits, that I feel like would make at least me feel like the really powerful, expensive devices that I'm buying are actually more worth their money, and would help solidify, okay, do I want to load a bottom tier device or a higher tier? Anyways, I'm going off to the weeds, focusing back upon the video. Moving on to more of the AI features. It utilizes Plaud intelligence, which allows for AI transcription and summarization developed as of this recording, which will likely evolve and change over time. This includes ChatGPT 4.1, O3 Mini, Claude 3.7 Sonnet, and Gemini 2.5 Pro. I'm not an expert at all of the different AIs, but I do use Gemini 2.4 Pro 2.5 Pro all of the time, and very familiar with it, and have been trying to keep up with AI since it came out. And it hits all of the fancy buzzwords the marketing does you want to hear, as those are the best performing from the research that I've done and from what I've been hearing over and over for months and months and months, especially for large language models and presenting information for human consumption. It supports 112 transcription languages. Upload a file. You can choose to make an overview, which includes the Pro and Unlimited membership only, make a transcript, again, which takes either your allotted minutes or unlimited membership, summary, which again uses the same thing, takes minutes or unlimited membership, and mind map, which is automatically completed based on the other two. There are multiple professional templates for various use cases, like seriously, there are a ton. And I think for the most part, they have one for just about everyone, and makes it very seamless. But most of them are locked behind the Pro or Unlimited membership. Inside that, you can also choose speaker labels, recording languages, and AI model that you want to use. Which choices include at the time of recording are auto, which just picks the best one, or I don't know what it does, but automatically does everything for you. Or you can choose, again, ChatGPT 4.1, Claude 3.7, Claude 4, O3 Mini, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and Gemini 2.5 Flash. You can also make your own custom prompt, but that too is locked behind the Pro or Unlimited membership, and once you stop paying for that, you no longer have access to it, which I think not only is wrong, but also frustrating. I'll get a little bit more into that in a bit. Which brings me to the last question. Is there a way that I could either use this device and or a device I already own and get the same quality of summaries for a lot less money? For my testing, I use the Apple Watch Ultra, iPhone, or my MacBook Pro's speakers or microphone or whatever, and against the Plaud Note. Doesn't matter how it is recorded really, just that it is. I have MacWhisper and Gemini 2.5 Pro membership. As a quick side note, I have to use MacWhisper first because Gemini 2.5 Pro does not support audio files at this time, which adds a step as I need to paste a Word document of the transcript of everything that was said into Gemini 2.5 Pro, so I'll go into that here in a second. So first difference starts here. When using Apple's ecosystem, if I record on any of my devices, it is already on my device via the cloud, and I can simply drag it over into MacWhisper, which then will make it into a transcript. To get it off my Plaud device, I first have to transfer it to the app, which can take 5 to 10 minutes, even on Wi-Fi. Then inside the Plaud app, I have to select the recording, hit the share button, and then airdrop it to my MacBook or whatever device I want, where then I can drag and drop it into the MacWhisper app. On my MacBook Pro M4 Pro, which is an exceedingly capable device and powerful machine, that is why I mentioned it, just so you can do your research, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to process an 80-minute long transcript, meaning the total time spent before even getting to the AI has already been 15 to 20 minutes. Once I have the transcript, I am able to give Gemini a prompt. I tried a simple and versus a complex one, with the simple one being on the level of any user and the complex one being arguably a high-level user. In the description, you can find a document that shows the simple and complex prompt and the answers it gave, along with the summary I got from Plaud from the same recordings, so you can make your own decision on which one you think is better. My personal breakdown showed that Plaud was a well-structured factual summary that contained the rawest information. It was comprehensive, but almost textbook-like in the outline. I also liked at the end it had follow-up points, which you can easily add in a prompt for Gemini, but happened automatically here from Plaud. Also, I used the auto setting. I didn't do anything special for Plaud. I literally made it as simple as the way that most users would do it. For the simple Gemini prompt, it was highly accurate and correctly identified and condensed the main topics, making it quite similar to the Plaud prompt, but without the follow-ups. Whereas the complex Gemini prompt was the best, it had a higher level of accuracy as it followed my exact instructions, making it more personal and useful. But that made it less textbook and omitted some of the main sections of the original text, which was not good, but did a deeper dive into the core concepts, which was good, which means there are pros and cons to each one of those. I think since you can prompt any of them and that the summaries are only as good as the prompts, I wanted to do one final test using the exact same custom prompt on both systems for a perfect comparison, or at least as close as you can get. However, I was unable to do this because Plaud locks your custom prompt behind their paywall. They give a very short trial of 7 days, and once my trial ended, I could no longer access the prompt I created, which is a significant downside to their ecosystem, as I am unwilling to purchase a plan just for this test, as I think the conclusion would be the same, which is this: the quality of the prompts will be very similar across the board, each with their own pros and cons. However, the simplicity of the Plaud is unmatched, making it a clear winner. As you record the lecture, you transfer the lecture, which happens automatically in the same app. You then press a button and bam, you're done. It takes a while. While that recording may take 10 to 20 minutes to populate, it just like it did in Gemini and everything else, it does it in the background while you are off doing other things. Where with Gemini, the summary takes about 2 to 3 minutes to come up with, so total time is probably close to 25 to 30 minutes from start to stop, compared to maybe 5 minutes of actual work with the Plaud, which is dramatic if you're doing this several times a week. A recurring lesson in my life has been the simpler the better, as that dramatically increases the likelihood of me actually doing something regularly, and that, along with the reasoning behind their pricing model, may just be enough to justify that $240 a year. As for me, I'm not quite sure if I'm there yet, as I've got other methods that I use, with this being a very nice to have, and for some people I think will be absolutely brilliant for them. But in conclusion, the Plaud Note is a fantastic device that does everything extremely well and is very simple to use. But to get the full functionality, you are stuck with an expensive at least $240 recurring cost per year that will likely to continue to get more expensive as time goes on. While there are cheaper alternatives, they are time consuming. This is one of those products that I'm on the fence about, as they do everything well, but it is more of a niche use case that comes in at a high cost. And even now, as I sit here talking to you, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do, if I end up buying a membership or if I'll just use it as a slim, lightweight, low-profile recorder, which is kind of where I'm leaning right now. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below, along with any questions you may have. Give this video a like if you liked it, a dislike if you hated it, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more like this. Otherwise, God bless and peace out.